In this video, we're going to cover the topic of electron configurations. Let's get started. You may be wondering why you need to learn electron configuration for the MCAT. This is one of the most foundational and high yield topics tested on the exam. The MCAT will almost certainly never ask you to write out long electron configurations. Instead, questions are often disguised and require you to recognize electron configuration concepts indirectly. A solid understanding of electron configuration is essential for determining valence electrons, identifying trends across the s, p, and d blocks, recognizing common exceptions, and writing ion configurations. Now, let's define electron configuration and learn how to write it. When it comes to electron configurations, I want you to think of it as the address system for electrons in an atom. Electron configurations describe how electrons are arranged around an atom's nucleus, specifically which energy levels, sublevels, and individual orbitals the electrons occupy. Electrons fill orbitals in a specific order based on the shell number n, subshells, and orbitals. The shell number tells us the distance from the nucleus. The subshells are represented by the s, p, d, and f. The orbitals indicate the specific regions in space where electrons are likely to be found, and each orbital can hold a maximum of 2 electrons. As an example, the condensed electron notation for oxygen is shown on this slide as 2p4. The number 2 represents the principal energy level or shell, which indicates the average distance of the electrons from the nucleus. The letter P designates the subshell, and the superscript 4 indicates that 4 electrons occupy the p subshell. Since the p subshell contains 3 orbitals, and each orbital can hold a maximum of 2 electrons, this corresponds to 4 electrons distributed among those orbitals with 2 unpaired electrons. There are two common ways to write electron configurations for elements. Using an orbital arrow diagram as shown on the left side of this slide, or using the periodic table as shown on the right side of this slide. The arrow diagram requires drawing the orbitals each time, which can be very time consuming, especially on the exam. Instead, we will use the periodic table to determine electron configurations because it is faster and readily available during the MCAT exam. Before we start writing electron configurations, let's review the basics, specifically the alpha principle. The alpha principle or building up principle states that electrons occupy the lowest energy orbitals available before filling higher energy orbitals. The lowest energy orbitals for ground state atoms is the 1s orbital, which appears in the top left corner of the periodic table and is occupied by hydrogen's electron. As we move one column to the right across a period, the atomic number increases by 1, meaning each element has one additional proton and one additional electron. As a result, the total number of electrons in an electron configuration increases by 1. As we move down the periodic table, electrons begin to occupy orbitals with higher principal energy levels, progressing from 1s to 2s to 3s and continuing up to 7s. Because the periodic table is organized according to increasing atomic number and orbital filling, we can write electron configurations starting at the top left of the periodic table and moving from left to right across each row, then down to the next row. On this slide, we can see that the periodic table is organized into different blocks based on the type of subshell being filled by the highest energy valence electrons. There are 4 distinct blocks on the periodic table: the S, P, D, and the F blocks. The S block, shown in turquoise or the greenish blue on the left side of the table, includes group 1 and 2, as well as hydrogen and helium. Elements in this block are organized by having their highest energy electrons in an s subshell. The s subshell can hold a maximum of 2 electrons, which is why the s block consists of 2 columns, with each column corresponding to the addition of 1 electron. The p block, shown in pink, contains the main group elements, including nonmetals, metalloids, and post-transition metals. These elements have their highest energy electrons in a p subshell. The p subshell can hold up to 6 electrons, which corresponds to the 6 columns in the p block. As we move to the right across each row, each column represents the addition of 1 electron. Now, the D block, shown in orange, contains the transition metals and is associated with the filling of the D subshells. The D subshell can hold a maximum of 10 electrons, which is why the D block contains 10 columns. The F block, shown in yellow, contains the lanthanides and actinides, where electrons are added to the F subshells. The F subshell can hold a total of 14 electrons, which corresponds to the 14 columns in the F block. It is important to commit these 4 blocks to memory. When writing electron configurations, electrons generally fill orbitals in order of increasing energy rather than strictly by block order. While s orbitals often fill before p, d, and f orbitals, important exceptions, particularly involving transition metals, will be addressed later. The energy level n, also known as the principal quantum number, corresponds to the row number of the periodic table for elements in the s and p blocks. For example, elements in the second row involve the 2s and 2p subshells, while elements in the fifth row involve the 5s and the 5p subshells. This relationship differs for elements in the D block. Although these elements are located in a given row of the periodic table, their electrons are added to a D subshell with a principal quantum number that is 1 less than the row number. For example, elements in the fourth row fill the 3D subshell, even though the 4s subshell is filled first. The elements in the fifth row fill the 4D subshell, and the elements in the sixth row fill the 5D subshell. For elements in the F block, electrons are added to an F subshell with a principal quantum number that is 2 less than the row number. For example, elements in the sixth row involve the filling of the 4F subshell, and elements in the seventh row fill the 5F subshell. On this slide, we're going to write the electron configuration of nitrogen just as an example. Let's write the electron configuration for nitrogen step by step. First, we need to locate nitrogen on the periodic table. Nitrogen is located on the second row in the P block, as the third box counting from the left to the right. Nitrogen has an atomic number of 7, which tells us it has 7 electrons in a neutral atom. We begin filling orbitals from the lowest energy to highest energy, following the Aufbau principle. The lowest energy orbital is the 1s orbital, which can hold up to 2 electrons. We place 2 electrons there, giving us the 1s2. Next, we move to the 2s orbital, which can also hold 2 electrons. Filling it completely gives 2s2. At this point, we have used 4 electrons and have 3 electrons remaining. The next available orbitals are the 2p orbitals. There are 3 2p orbitals of equal energy. And according to Hund's rule, electrons occupy each orbital one at a time before they start to pair up. So we place 1 electron in each 2p orbital. Throughout this process, we're also following the Pauli exclusion principle, which states that no 2 electrons in the same atom can have the same 4 quantum numbers. Putting everything together, the full or the long electron configuration for nitrogen is 1s2, 2s2, 2p3. Now let's write the shorthand or the noble gas configuration. The noble gas that comes before nitrogen is helium, which has the configuration of 1s2. We replace the portion with the noble gas symbol, brackets He, that leaves us with the remaining electrons in the second energy level, giving the shorthand configurations He 2s2, 2p3. On this slide, we will learn about some exceptions to writing electron configuration. Up to this point, we've been writing electron configuration using the Aufbau principle, Hund's rule, and the Pauli exclusion principle. And for most elements, those rules work just perfectly. But there are a few exceptions, and chromium and copper are two of the most famous ones. Let's start with the general idea behind these exceptions. Electrons don't just care about filling orbitals, they also care about stability. In particular, half-filled or fully filled subshells are more stable than partially filled ones. For example, a 3D5 configuration is more stable than a 3D4 configuration, and a 3D10 is more stable than a 3D9. This extra stability comes from better electron symmetry and reduced electron-electron repulsion, which lowers the overall energy of the atom. Now let's look at chromium, which has an atomic number of 24. If we follow the Aufbau principle exactly, we would expect chromium to have an electron configurations of brackets AR, 4s2, 3d4. But in reality, chromium's actual configuration is AR, 4s1, 3d5. One electron is promoted from the 4s orbital into the 3d orbital. This creates a half-filled d subshell with 5 electrons spread evenly across the 5d orbitals. The half-filled arrangement is more stable than having 4 electrons in the d subshell and 2 in the 4s orbital. Now let's look at copper with an atomic number of 29. Based on the Aufbau principle, we would predict the configuration to be AR, 4s2, 3d9. But copper's actually has an electron configuration of AR, 4s1, 3d10. Again, one electron moves from the 4s orbital into the 3d orbital. This time, the result is a fully filled d subshell, which is even more stable. So here's a key rule to remember. Half-filled subshells like D5 and fully filled subshells like D10 are especially stable. When promoting a single electron from an s orbital to a d orbital, it creates one of these stable arrangements. The atom will adopt that configuration even if it slightly violates the Aufbau filling order. For the MCAT, the most important exceptions to know are chromium and copper and some other ones that we will cover just shortly. If you see a configuration that would give you a D4 or D9, pause and consider whether a half-filled or fully filled D subshell is possible instead. This concludes the video. For more practice, check out the other videos in this playlist. Thank you very much for watching and best of luck to you.